Morena, Tineke.
Morena.
Nice to see you. How was your sleep last night?
Well, it was actually fantastic. And how about yours, Jana?
It was actually okay as well. It's funny because it almost seems rehearsed now, but something that has been really coming through over the last few sessions as well, that we've had with our families, is the sleep and babies transitioning through stages as well. And some find it harder to find sleep, and some seem to, be the perfect baby and they just go to sleep. And
Yeah, what is the perfect baby?
right. It's interesting one, isn't it? It's just a
Your
question.
baby.
Yeah, that's exactly. Your baby is the perfect baby for you.
Yeah,
That's right. And you're the perfect mother for your baby,
yeah,
just the way you are.
yeah.
That's cheesy again. But anyhow, we are aware, being mothers as well, and working in an early learning setting too, supporting many, many families and children when they were transitioning through sleep and couldn't find sleep. And sleep deprivation, in a way, it's a form of torture. We know that, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it
we had a
is.
lot of mothers in both groups yesterday
Right.
commenting on their struggle at the moment. So
It's
this is why we are speaking today on this. So we hope you're tuning in and
really hope
that
you
you've
are.
got something warm that you're holding.
Yeah, and like we said, we're going to offer our perspective and what we have seen and what we've tried as well to support babies. And every child is different and unique, just like we are too. And they had certain rhythms, and some of them worked and some of them didn't. And there is a way of changing it or supporting them through it. But we did have some really tired mamas yesterday who were sharing that their children are finding it hard to sleep and how exhausting it is for them. And yeah, let's just go straight into it, Tineke, and just see, what we've shared and what
Yeah,
we can.
yeah. And I think, we were talking about that fourth trimester
Right.
where you are creating a womb-like environment, right? Where there is a lot of movement that baby is used to when it comes to finding their sleep in utero, and the transformation and the transition of that, coming out of that. So you know the natural rhythms, right, that we bring and supporting them into finding rest as well in those initial weeks. And then what happens when this beautiful awakening happens a little bit later, like sort of the 3 to 4 month stage, right? And then there's a lot of awareness that comes. And actually, I'm in this world, and my senses are growing, and my knowledge of my environment is growing, and I'm getting more and more interested in this. So yeah, then there are the changes that come with that, right? And when it comes to going into rest.
Yeah, that's right. And it's almost like when your baby arrives, there is this new relationship that's beginning. It's almost like when you get to meet a new person, a new language is starting as well, because you're learning their language and they're learning yours. Um, and now they're sending you cues. They really are. And it's for us to tune in and find out, okay, what are you actually telling me? And we do know that we are all trying with the best intention to help our baby stop to sleep, especially when they're crying, because it is very upsetting and alarming when your baby cries. And, there's that difference between stress and distress. And, a certain amount of stress can also, if it's healthy dose, can also help you to release tension. So if babies had all their needs met and they had that loving connection as well during the day and a good rhythm, if you can figure out a good rhythm for your baby, according to their needs and your needs as well, but mostly theirs at the beginning, you will fall into a good place. That will keep changing as the babies become more awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tineke, jump in now. My thought just disappeared for a second.
Yeah, well, it's that it's the the hard part is when we feel we're that instrument to assist, right? And then when is it that moment that you go, actually, nobody can find someone else's sleep,
Yeah.
and that you are learning about sleep as well, just like you are learning to move, like you're learning to walk, like you're learning to eat, right? So all of those things, it's actually, it is part of learning. And so there is a moment in my head that I experience with my children and children as well at the center, was that they have that awareness that they know they are wanting actually an opportunity to find that themselves and learn that for themselves.
Mhm.
So what are we providing that is going to assist with that? And then what is that going to remove for us as well, and how involved we need to be in helping them find that? So when is that transition into that independence happening? And now historically children were just, swaddled and left to cry it out, and this is where we know now how detrimental that is, and we don't need to go into that. But there is also a thought where what we're seeing is that parents are thinking that even an expression of crying is not actually healthy when it comes to sleep. And this is really interesting, Jana, because you have some real insights around that and what you observed, especially with your son around that. So that would be good to share.
So what we did, and it worked for our family, and and getting to know my boy as well when he was little, both of my children, we chose to have him in a bassinet in our bed as well, and learning, especially when he went through that transition of that awakening, and his senses became a little bit more awake as well, and he was aware more of the noises and the smells and everything around him. It all sharpened around the age of 3-4 months. I was watching him. So, it's what was really important was that I found my still place, because we often talk about training babies to sleep, but there's no such thing. We almost need to train ourselves to be still and calm in helping our babies to find their sleep. And I think there's a big difference there. So, find that quiet space and just acknowledge, yes, you're going to try and sleep now, and I'm here to help you. Even that soothing voice is very calming and reassuring for your baby. It's that co-regulation, we are here together. I'm here to help you, but I can't sleep for you. And, there was always that rhythm that we had. So it was, just the practical things, he would have a play, and then we would have that lovely nappy change, which was a nice way of interacting and really slowing down your gestures. When they slow down, that's preparing your baby as well. Now it's time to go into that quieter moment now. Now it's time to rest. And then, we would have a lovely feed as well, and whichever way you're doing it. And then I would say, I'm going to put you down to sleep, when he was a little bit drowsy, right? He was still awake, and I've placed him down. And I remember when he was going through that transition as well. And that's often what we did at a learning center where we were. When we place the babies down to sleep, again, the gesture is very slow and gentle. So it's that soothing time. I'm preparing you down now. And yes, you might let me know that you're not happy about being separated, and that's okay. So some babies do need to let a cry or two, and that's okay. They're releasing some energy. But the difference between letting baby to cry themselves to sleep and being there for baby to support them and let them, just let go of some energy is very different. It's done with the intention of, I'm here to support you, rather than, okay, you really need to sleep now, I'm going to go away. Because that's a cold place to be in if you just shut the door and leave. Unless, and I must mention that as well, if it's all getting too much and you're very tired, please do put your baby down, walk out, tell them, I'm just going to go and walk out for a moment. Take a deep breath, find that stillness in yourself and come back. And if you can find someone who can support you along this, even just make a phone call to someone, get yourself a cup of tea. If that's what's going to take to calm you down, then just do it. But then come back to your baby. But you know, we all have had those. Well, I know I had those moments.
Absolutely.
You get tired and you're thinking, oh, this is just too much. But
isn't it interesting that the baby, it's like if you're so wanting their sleep, it's like they read you like a book, right? And you just like, and so it's so funny. You try and be like, you know, I don't really care if it takes you an hour or two to go to sleep. And you try, but in your heart you're like, oh, please find sleep. I just need it myself. I need to rest. I need some of, you know, my time just to survive through this. And you know, but it's interesting, hey, how well you can be read.
You can be read really well, right? You definitely can. So there is no hiding. You're completely exposed in this relationship with this beautiful little person. And yes, we do acknowledge it's not easy, especially when you go through that real challenge of lack of sleep, and perhaps, you know, if there are any stresses involved too. But yeah, we are here.
Yeah, we really recommend that rest, hey, as well, even in the day, that you can, you know,
it sounds beautiful, Tineke. It's a lovely theory. It really is a fabulous theory, and I love the sound of it.
I know.
Not everyone is able to.
If you've got a toddler and a newborn, yeah, this is a really hard thing to find. But even just grabbing cushions and going to the floor and just letting your body lie there, and if it means your baby next to you and your toddler cooling over you, but you're just letting your body relax, just do it.
Yeah. Or just go and take a deep breath outside. That's, you know, like my daughter is using that now. Mommy, you know, I need to go and smell some flowers. It used to be, Mommy. I used to say, I'm going to smell some flowers. Now she said, you need to go and smell some flowers now, Mommy. And now it's, Mommy, I need to go outside and smell some flowers.
Fantastic emotional regulation going on there, Jana. generational learning there.
But let's just go back to, you know, that sleeping as well. And you put your baby down, and then if that's what you choose to do, and you know, you will help them to find a sleep. I remember really watching him and just really trying to figure out, okay, what are you telling me? Every little movement, every little sound, and you know, how is the sound? Is it increasing or decreasing? What's going on for you? What are you communicating? And I know that, you know, I used to place my hand on my baby's heart as well, and I still do it now, even on mine or my children still now. It just comes down the vagus nerve as well, and just releases the oxytocin right into your body. And then even just a gentle tap, just a very gentle tap, rather than going into this rocking motion that are very exhausting if you're already tired. It's too much. You're already low on energy and you're giving more energy. So, you know, yes, the baby really needs you, your baby really needs you. But how are you going to just help yourself a little bit so you can help your baby? That's really, really important. There's always that balance between two, right? Before burnout happens or exhaustion, especially if you don't have any support. But then the gentle tapping, even at the center, right? We'll just say, you're going to lie down and I'm going to gently place you. And then just sitting there, or even singing is very soothing, or just humming, very gentle, quiet humming that will slowly fade away and disappear as the baby is learning to fall asleep as well. And it's a process. That noticing and observation is a huge process that takes time. But what a great feeling when you all of a sudden, almost like you cracked the code, right? Like, I know what you're saying right now with your movements and your gestures. I know it.
And you see those signals, hey, and I think that's it. It's capturing that as well before overtiredness happens for both parties, because when that does, it creates a lot more work for everyone. But I really noticed the difference with Mia. I did a lot of that rocking, and I was saying to mothers yesterday, I just remember this moment where I think she was probably 9 months old, and she looked up at me and I looked back down at her, and she just it was just this look of, what are you doing to me? And here I was in this pattern that I just thought that this is how she's going to have to find sleep, and I was still doing that, and it was just, I just realized, and I said, what am I doing to you?
Yeah.
This is not helping you anymore, and it's not helping me. I'm resentful. I'm angry about having to do this, and I really want to say to the mamas, and their, the dadders and the other mamas and dadders out there, when you're at that point, that, like, it's probably past the point of needing change, but you have to decide within yourself as well, when is it time to make a change and to help my child into helping them find their own sleep. Because I got to that point where I realized it just was not helpful at all to either of us. So, you can, making a change in a pattern like that can bring about a week of unrest as well, and probably in a way more tiredness, but then out the other side of it, you're going to have something that is a really big change for everyone. And one of the things that I remember reading was that sleep, the quality of sleep, is not just about the quality of sleep for the baby, it's the quality of sleep for the whole family, the whole whānau. So that's what I would be recommending, that you really assess as well as part of that, and then what are the changes that we can make. And I know there are a lot of mamas out there who will happily just lie down and rest with their babies and take that opportunity and then get up a bit later, or stay asleep and find their moments of self-care at another time. So it's really about the rhythm and the ritual that you have as a family. I really do highly recommend, like Jana's saying as well, that real rhythm and ritual in your day just helps so much when it comes to this as well. Hey,
Predictability. And what's interesting as well, Tineke, now that you're saying this, it's not that moment when you're helping your baby to go to sleep because it's time to go to sleep. It's what happens the whole day prior to that. That is important. So it's the rhythm. How much was there? Was it too much? Because if it was a busy day, like we're talking about baby finding a sleep, but I know that I find it a bit tricky to find sleep when it's been a full on day, especially when, I do some sort of professional development or something just before I'm about to go to sleep. My brain just goes, whoop.
yeah.
Right? So what happens all prior to that is really important. And also our attitude and our way of thinking about sleep as well. And as well, like you mentioned, Tineke, some mothers and parents and fathers, and, some people find it easy to find sleep and they just go for it. I know my husband, he hits the pillow, off he goes. And I've felt some resentment towards him a few times, but how do you? But there are mothers, and fathers, and again, people who find it hard to find a sleep. And why is that? Maybe exploring your sleeps and your rituals and habits might be helpful as well. It's all about what happens prior to that. That is really important. So sometimes the overstimulation, too many bright colors, too much going on, not enough sleep. And I think there's that confusion as well, that if baby has too much sleep during the day, they won't sleep at night. What if, I'll challenge you, if baby had a restful day during the day, they will be able to go into a better sleep at night because they're not overstimulated. So try that. Yeah. And that's what we have found in a center as well, right? When we were with the baby. It's what was happening prior to that. That was really important. And that co-regulation. And again, what you touched on, Tineke, was, that rocking. And in a way, it might look like you are helping a baby to sleep, but there's a disconnection. There's a real sense of disconnection. And for example, when you put your baby right next to you as well in a cot and you're sitting on a chair, further away, but still in the room, and you're just sitting there, even just still, you are there. And just helping them, you're being there, you're being present, but you're not physically touching at that point, when you really need rest. You are co-regulating. You are together in this. So there's a big difference. So think about it that way. Which way are you heading? Are you helping yourself? Are you helping your baby right now? What do you need? Yeah.
I just really loved and knowing more with my second child.
Yeah.
I really, he was a side sleeper, so actually my hand went on his back when he was in this sort of he was around a few months old, heading for 3 months old, when I started to really place him into his cot and to try to see what it was like. And it really was experimental at this stage for me as well. And I just, I had my hand on his back, and it was just, those couple of words that were just like, you're finding sleep. Yeah, yeah, your eyes will close. And just then, just being so still, and just because the environment was warm, it was safe, he was trusting, and I was there, my presence was there, but I wasn't interfering, was just a beautiful thing to really watch him find his own sleep and his eyes to close, and for him just to feel his body relaxing and his muscles relaxing into that. And I think, yeah, it'll be really interesting to get some feedback from you all out there around trying that out at the right moment and seeing if how that works. I know that there are families out there whose children do have lower sleep needs, and that can be really exhausting. But it is, it not a diagnosed condition, but it is a reality. And so I think if you are feeling like you need support with that, I would really encourage you to reach out, because that is something that can be very trying and very hard to sort of really work out. But I have had mothers report that, and knowing that and being able to find that and relax, so their children, toddlers, etc., would go to sleep quite a bit later than what would be expected, or what you would think is the average. But that meant for them they had a much more restful rest of the night until the early hours of the morning when they would wake. So it's about also working out who your little person is and what their needs are in that. So
I wonder, Tineke, if we could maybe next week again touch on, sleep and night rhythm for children, toddlers and slightly older children, and how it changes, and what we do as well at home, because, having two children as well, like you do, you can see the different patterns as well and different needs they have. And we can talk about that maybe, and what happens as well for us to, what do we do to meet their needs individually too, while also letting them know that it is rest time, and you're the only one who can find sleep. I can't do it for you.
And this is it. There's some desperate parents out there with toddlers that are waking a lot through the night, and our heart goes out to you for that, because it really is, it can be very, very exhausting. So I know parents who have just put mattresses down alongside the cots of their babes just to have that rest and to be alongside, and to really put that boundary into place as well, of this is night, this is sleep, we're staying here. So another big area to talk about, like you say, Jana.
Let's do that maybe next week, and it will be really good to hear from all of you who are possibly listening to us as well and joining us. What worked, what didn't? Do you agree, you don't? We are here to listen and hear you out as well. So go well, and here is to hopefully some rest today and over the weekend.
That support that you need to make sure that you are getting the rest you need. It just will make all the difference for how you're able to cope and make any transitions you need to, hey?
Yeah. Well, ka kite ana. Go